Hey there, we're Talia and Ophira Edut, identical twins and astrologers. Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, where we bring the stars down to earth. I really feel like this entire week is leading up to Saturday. That is the day when our reality is really going to shift. And it's really, really going to shift for the women of the world because Black Moon Lilith, we'll talk about Lilith in a minute, is changing signs after 9 months in Virgo. It's moving into Libra. And that is a huge, huge deal. And also that very same day, Saturn, the planet of structure and stability and restriction, is dipping into its yearly retrograde this year, just like last year and next year. It's going retrograde in Pisces until November 15th. So that's a reality bender too. So I'm going to tell you all about that in just a minute. But welcome to the week. Tali here from the AstroTwins. So glad you're with me. Before we talk about Lilith in Libra, we need to process Lilith in Virgo. So what is Lilith? First and foremost, Lilith is not a planet, not an asteroid, but rather a point in the sky. The moon orbits around the Earth, but it doesn't make this perfectly equal circle. It's more of an ellipse, an egg shape. There's part of its orbit where it's closest to the Earth. And when we have a full moon there or a new moon, that's a supermoon. And then on the other side of the egg, it's farthest away from the Earth in its orbit. And that point in between there is Lilith. So it's sort of this void energy, this place of complete nothingness, emptiness, but also deep, deep empowerment. So the myth of Lilith is that she was Adam's first wife, and I'm going to put my editorial on it, the patriarchy's worst nightmare. Lilith was a sexually empowered, self-sovereign woman who refused to be ashamed of her desires. So of course, she was banished from the Garden of Eden. That was then. Maybe this is now. Maybe we won't be going back to those times. Lilith spends 9 months in each sign, and we are wrapping up 9 months of Lilith in Virgo, which is a complex, mutable earth sign. Virgo energy can give us really solid ideas for setting up systems and organizing life and simplifying and paring down, but it can also stir up anxiety, perfectionism, and a whole host of neurotic feelings. We may have banished ourselves quietly and internally over the last 9 months. I've noticed that not a lot of people are rushing out to be in relationships. There have been very complicated relationship dynamics out there in the world. And of course, there are some people who are doing just fine, and good on you. I hope that for all of us. But I've also heard a lot of people kind of saying, I don't have space for a relationship. I really like being with myself now. And I'm wondering if some of that is because nobody can live up to our standards. When Lilith is in Virgo, we can kind of become quiet flaw finders of ourselves and of others. Maybe just kind of wanting to draw our energy in. The trad wife revolution has taken place. I find that to be very Lilith and Virgo, that controlled sexuality, the virgin. I'm not saying all Virgos are like that, so sorry, Virgos. I'm just talking about Lilith here in this archetype. It's that controlled sexuality, the control over women's reproductive rights in the United States has only worsened with Lilith and Virgo. We are ready for Lilith's move into Libra on Saturday. So while that's happening, Saturday also brings Saturn turning retrograde in Pisces. Now, Pisces is the opposite sign of Virgo. So it's kind of interesting. We have Saturn, which is the planet of repression and restriction in Pisces, this boundless, limitless sign. And then we have Lilith, this wild sexual creature in Virgo, the sign of the Virgin. Absolutely, the last 9 months have been a little bit of a mind bender for sure. Like, where do we go with this? Where do we even put our sexual energy, our sexuality? Do we just make like Jen and Ben and put the Beverly Hills home on sale for 65 mil, or are we going to work it out? That's the question. Now, Lilith and Libra could change things rapidly for couples who are on the rocks. So I'm not putting my vote in yet for a benefit divorce because Lilith and Libra could kind of turn that around. There is a chance. Lilith and Libra, I think, will force us to confront injustices and gender inequalities and relationship inequalities. Where do we feel like we're outsiders in our own relationships? But where are we not bringing our best and our whole selves to our relationships? Where are we not empowering ourselves inside of partnerships? You know, Lilith and Virgo may have had us sort of quietly sniping and complaining, whereas Lilith and Libra is like, let's negotiate. I'd say it's a lot more of an empowered place for Lilith. Lilith is in Libra until March 26th of 2025, so we have some time to work with this. What I see happening is definitely some movement towards gender equality or some rage against gender inequalities that have happened. There could be a worldwide revolution for women coming, hopefully on the right side of things, where we wind up empowered, because ultimately Lilith is about empowerment too, against all odds. Reproductive rights, which are under assault in the United States, the fight for that, I think, has been a lot quieter than perhaps it will be in the next 9 months. And Lilith goes into Scorpio after that. So if it gets any worse, man, the explosion next year will be something else. You know, people born in the 1970s will have Lilith cross over Pluto and Uranus in your chart. So that could stir up some real powerful, complicated emotions around relationships that need to be processed. Gen Xers might, who have been kind of unconsciously uncoupling or finding new relationship models, could really feel the desire to bring polyamory or open marriages or maybe other types of arrangements, best friends with benefits, out into the open, the way that menopause has now become an open topic du jour and brought out of the shame closet. So that also may be part of Lilith and Virgo's doing too, because Virgo does rule our health and our bodies. And I think for women, only over the last year or two, there's really been just like total, and Lilith and Leo before that, which also rules our fertility, and Lilith and Cancer before that. So the last 3 Lilith cycles have definitely been focusing on our wombs and not being shamed for our natural cycles as women. I'd love to see men have the same open conversation about andropause. Hormone replacement therapy is being more widely adopted too, and I think that's another result of the last 3 Lilith cycles. It's a big deal. I'm really interested to see what Lilith in Libra does. Now, if you're born in 1980 or 81, you have Jupiter and Saturn perhaps in Libra. So Lilith is gonna shake up some of the structures in your life, maybe the way you do your work. You may want to work more in partnership or bring more beauty and harmony to your office. Sharing is definitely caring and also empowering with Lilith and Libra. Now, Saturn turning retrograde on Saturday too. That's going to bring some reality checks and boundaries. I am concerned about the blurring of reality using AI that could happen. Saturn definitely is the reality checker, but like I said, Pisces is fantasy illusion. And with Saturn kind of snoozing and being in a weakened position in nap mode, it could really create some election interference. Even on a personal level, we have to be careful while Saturn's retrograde in Pisces to be, as they say in the Four Agreements, impeccable with our words. It's easy to make promises and not keep them. Easier to flake out while Saturn's retrograde and kind of slip up on some of the self-care, especially if you're dealing with an addiction or a compulsive behavior or you're going to therapy. Keep the structures in place. You might suddenly feel like, oh, I've got this. I'm just gonna suddenly stop taking my antidepressant, or I'm gonna stop going to meetings, or I'm gonna drop out of that support group because I've got this. And while Saturn's retrograde in Pisces until November 15th, we may actually need more support than ever. One more note about Lilith and Libra. Libra is the sign of peace, but for people who have been trying to fight for peace but getting dominated as a result, there could be a real rageful insurgence that comes up, but there could also be a global fight for peace, as kind of contrary, fighting for peace. Yes, that's kind of how Lilith might work with it. You might be curious to find out where Lilith was when you were born, and I would highly recommend looking it up. We have a calculator on astrostyle.com, and we're going to drop that in the show notes for you. Find out where your true Lilith is. There's a mean Lilith, a true Lilith. Kind of makes me laugh. Mean Lilith, but it's not that kind of mean. We're talking about true Lilith here. And there's just a slight, they're off by a certain number of degrees. So you could look at both of them. My mean Lilith is 1 degree Sag, true Lilith 23 Scorpio. So those may be places where you find yourself fighting for empowerment. I've always fought for empowerment of women and intersectional feminism. I've been doing that since the 90s when we had our first magazine, Hues, that we used to publish back at the University of Michigan. Size positive, very Scorpio, Sag themes. So when you look up your Lilith, you may find that the sign that it's in says a lot about where you felt both disempowered, shamed, and then, you were like, hell no. And you grabbed life by the horns and became a mouthpiece for justice and empowerment in that area of life, not just for yourself, but for others. So definitely calculate your Lilith sign. Speaking of the opposite of peace, war, Aries is the sign of war. That's Libra's opposite sign. And we do have a quarter moon in Aries this week. Places where you've been fighting or trying to get attention or trying to get recognized, there could be some modest steps towards that. This is a waning quarter moon. Moon's getting smaller after last week's full moon in Capricorn. So it's not about coming in just ready to give people a piece of your mind. It's about gently asserting yourself for maximum impact. Mercury and Saturn are in a trine on Tuesday too. So Mercury is about communication and Saturn is restraint. So they're in a water trine. Mercury's in Cancer, Saturn's in Pisces. This is before Saturn's retrograde. So if you do have something, whether in your personal or professional life, that you need to advocate for, do so in a calm, measured way. Also can bring some heart and emotion. Try to make some sort of emotional connection with whoever you're speaking to, whether, it doesn't mean you have to buddy and get personal with them, but find that common ground, that common value that will cause a stir, an internal stir. Water signs are about feelings and emotions, where both those planets are. So if you can actually cause people to feel something, maybe it's inspired or empowered to make a difference or hopeful or connected, then you're on the right path. You might have to come with statistics, facts, figures, spreadsheets, flow charts, prepare to explain yourself in detail. Mercury and Saturn are nothing if not strategic. So it's not just about feelings, it's also about the facts. Facts and feelings are both needed. Now, to keep you attuned to your highest potential this summer, we have something really special for you that's already underway, and that is our Summer of Success Fest. It began on Friday, June 21st, with the first of two back-to-back Capricorn full moons. Capricorn is the zodiac sign that is associated with ambition, achievement, slow and steady climbing towards that peak, leadership, goals that really have soul but make a lasting difference. Usually there's only one full moon in Capricorn, but this summer has two, bookending Cancer season. So we have this 4-week period where we really are able to tap into that Capricorn energy to climb steadily towards new heights, and heights that are in any area of life. It could be finishing a memoir, planning a family trip, making sure you get enough pool time, starting an exercise routine, bringing a relationship into a new and fulfilling and sexy chapter, or crushing it with your career, whatever you define success as. We wanted to create something to support you. So the Summer of Success Fest began with the full strawberry Capricorn moon ritual, which you can get the replay of. That was a free event. And we have another free ritual on July 21st for the full buck moon in Capricorn. And in between there, if you follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins, we're going to be doing a daily success scope. So we're going to give you a little food for thought every single day, most likely all videos, but we might put some reading material in there too, just to keep you in tune with where the stars are every single day in between these Capricorn full moons. And then, very exciting, we have a ticketed event on 8/8 for the Lion's Gate. 8/8 is the day that has now become associated with opening up a portal to abundance and connecting to spirit simultaneously. 8 is the number associated with power and authority and abundance. And this is actually an 8 universal year in numerology. If you add up the digits of 20, 24, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4, you get an 8. So that's a ticketed event because we have some special things lined up. It's $88 and you get a hardcover copy of our book, The Astrology Advantage. Use your horoscope for personal and professional success. You get an astronumerology report that we're putting together with our partners in the Summer of Success Fest, astrology.com. And you also get a workshop with us and an opportunity to win a trip to San Francisco. Yay! To meet with me and Ophi in person and get an IRL reading and have dinner together. That'll be a lucky winner. So everyone who joins the Lionsgate gets entered into that. And we have some really cool runner-up prizes that are coming too. So if you want to be part of the Summer of Success Fest, you can go to tinyurl.com/success-fest. That's tinyurl.com/success-fest. We'll put that link in the show notes too for you. You can sign up for all the free events as well as the ticketed Lionsgate event. And we'll see you in one or all of those places and helping you celebrate success all summer long as you define it, because it really is up to you. We'll be back next week with more cosmic guidance. Thanks for hanging out with me. May Lilith be with you. As always, thanks for listening. You can discover more of your star power at astrocell.com and be sure to follow us on social at AstroTwins. Join us next time for more cosmic fun.